World Sport from the BBC with me, Paul Serres. Coming up in the next 10 minutes.
Pogba has a chance now, and Pogba scores. And Milan has never dealt with a danger. And Paul Pogba, who's only been on the field for 3 minutes, makes his mark. It's Milan 0, Manchester United 1.
Manchester United are through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Arsenal are also into the last 8, but Tottenham are out, and India levelled the T20 International Series against England. Manchester United are through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League after a 1-0 win against Milan at the San Siro. Paul Pogba came off the bench at half-time to score the only goal of the game as United secured a 2-1 aggregate win. Arsenal are also through to tomorrow's draw despite a 1-0 defeat against Olympiacos on the night. The Gunners progressed 3-2 on aggregate. But Tottenham are out, losing 3-0 after extra time against Dinamo in Zagreb to go out 3-2 on aggregate. Also through to the last 8 are Ajax, Villarreal, Roma and Granada. Staying with football, and a number of countries hoping to qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations will have to field weakened teams following a decision made by the top 2 divisions in France. The 40 clubs from Ligue 1 and 2 agreed unanimously to prevent their players from leaving the European Union Economic Area because of the quarantine period they would have to undergo on their return to France due to fears of COVID-19 transmission overseas. So which teams will be most affected? A question we put to Nigeria-based football reporter Oluwashina Okeleji.
Well, I think we can look no further than Ivory Coast. The 2015 African champions have not yet sealed qualifications, and most of their players are actually based in the French Ligue 1. So this news has actually come as a huge blow to them because they will play their qualifier and hoping to see qualification. So I think they are the biggest team that will be hit by this. And coach Patrice Baumel has actually highlighted that this is going to be a very difficult one for them. I think we haven't really heard a particular country come out yet to actually say exactly what's going to happen. But I've been speaking to some players, couple of players in the French Britannia, some players in Nantes and other places, and they are saying it's come as a huge blow to them. But they also understand the challenges facing the club. For instance, the Nigerian Moses Simon, who is with Nantes, actually said the team is in a very deep fight to stay in the French Ligue 1. So, of course, their manager as well as the top officials of the club are worried about, him going to Nigeria, coming back to isolate for a few days, and then stay away from key games because now every game is important for Nantes.
The organisers of the Wimbledon Tennis Championships say the tournament is likely to go ahead with a reduced capacity crowd this summer. The Grand Slam is set to start on the 28th of June, 7 days after COVID restrictions are due to end in England. The BBC's tennis correspondent Russell Fuller has more.
In theory, everybody could be at Wimbledon. There could be no restrictions at all because 1 week before the championships begin is the earliest possible date that all COVID restrictions could be removed in the UK. But I think those that are planning sporting events this summer don't think that suddenly the floodgates will be opened and everybody will be allowed to take their seats as they would in a normal summer. So they are planning for, and I quote, a reduced number of spectators, but they're going to try and remain as flexible as possible. They may increase or decrease the attendance during the championships if the health and safety guidelines insist they do. And as a result, instead of people getting tickets via the ballot, which is the traditional way of applying for tickets for Wimbledon, they're likely to go on sale online in June. There'll be no queue either. The traditional Wimbledon queue won't happen this year, and I think there's going to be an almighty online scramble when they do go live in a couple of months' time.
And what about for the players? I understand there's going to be some changes as to where they can stay, but will they have to quarantine before playing?
No, I think that's very, very, very unlikely. They'll be part of the tennis bubble, and it's such a busy time of the year. Many will already have been in the country to play the grass court warm-up events before Wimbledon. The biggest blow for the stars, the higher earners, if you like, are the fact that they won't be allowed to rent private houses, as was the case at Roland Garros for the French Open last year. And that would be a big blow to those who like to have a big entourage, and you can understand the attraction, can't you? Hire a nice big house close to Wimbledon Common and have a barbecue with the team in the back garden. Instead, they'll have to be in official hotels along with their support teams and the officials, and Wimbledon are making that a mandatory requirement of entry for this year's championships.
To cricket, and India set up a series decider with an 8-run win over England in an absorbing 4th T20 International in Ahmedabad. The series is now tied at 2-2 with the final match of the series taking place on Saturday. The details from the BBC's Henry Moran.
No question about it, this was the most exciting, closest game of the series so far, and the first time that a side batting first has gone on to win. India set England the target of 186 thanks to 57 from Surya Kumar Yadav in his first international innings. Jofra Archer, meanwhile, took 4 wickets to continue his excellent series with the ball. The run chase initially stuttered, but looked to be on course with Bairstow and Stokes flying. When they were dismissed, though, England's momentum ebbed, and despite some thrilling late blows from Archer, they fell 8 runs short. The final T20 is on Saturday, with the series level at 2-2.
The Women's Cricketer of the Decade is the latest player to sign up for the first season of the new 100 tournament, which takes place here in England in July. Australia's Elise Perry will play for the Birmingham Phoenix in the tournament, which features 8 city-based teams. The winners of the men's and women's competition, which was postponed from last year because of COVID-19, will receive equal prize money, and Perry says the tournament can be transformational in how the women's game is viewed.
Super exciting. I think, whenever something like this kicks off, and obviously it's been delayed for pretty amazing reasons, but I just think it's always a special moment in time in a sport when something like this comes along, and to have the opportunity to be a part of it and experience it, when it first starts. I think it's a little bit similar to when the WBBL started in Australia, and I feel really chuffed that another country kind of wanted me to come and play in their competition, so it'll be great for all of us.
England's rugby union head coach Eddie Jones has accused the media of poisoning his players during the Six Nations tournament. The players have been criticised for underperforming after losing to Wales and Scotland.
You guys fill the players' heads full of poison, and we're always trying to take the poison out of them. Because we know what the game's going to be like. We've got an idea. But sometimes when all the narrative's about this was fantastic, free-flowing, what a great England, this is how we want to play all the time, that seeps into the players' heads. So we find that the most intriguing part of preparing a team.
World Athletics has confirmed that up to 10 Russian track and field athletes will be able to compete as neutrals at the Tokyo Olympics this summer. Athletics' world governing body has reinstated a scheme allowing Russian athletes who meet anti-doping criteria to take part in the Games under a neutral flag. More from correspondent Alex Capstick.
It's been 12 months since Russian track and field athletes were allowed to take part in international competitions. It followed the suspension of their federation because leading officials obstructed an anti-doping investigation. But with the reinstatement process underway, it was agreed that individual competitors could return to action, although not under the Russian flag. A maximum of 10 will be allowed at the Tokyo Olympics, and those selected will have to meet strict anti-doping criteria. Their involvement is also dependent on Russia's Athletics Federation adopting a list of reforms.
Meanwhile, a month after the president of the Tokyo Olympics Organising Committee was forced to step down after making sexist remarks, Games organisers are having to face another embarrassing incident. The Games' creative head, Hiroshi Sasaki, who was responsible for the opening and closing ceremonies, has resigned after suggesting that the comedian Naomi Watanabe, who is expected to appear in the ceremony, could wear pig's ears and appear as a so-called Olympig. He has since apologised and described his comments as very inappropriate. A reminder of the main stories. Manchester United and Arsenal are through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League, but Tottenham are out after a 3-0 defeat in the second leg against Dinamo Zagreb. India level the T20 International Series against England with an 8-run win in Ahmedabad. We'll have further updates throughout the day, but for now, that's the latest world sport from the BBC.